Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Mr. Marty. Well, today I want to talk about one of my favorite poets, Dylan Thomas, and how I discovered Dylan Thomas's poetry, and what is I think his best poem. You've probably, even if you've never actually heard the poem or even heard of Dylan Thomas, you've probably heard the title of the poem, which is kind of a theme. I'm sure at some point in a film or maybe even in a novel that you've read, or maybe someone will just say it. But the phrase "do not go gentle into that good night," or "do not go gently into that good night." But the actual poem is "do not go gentle into that good night." And of course, that good night is death, or as the 1940s film with Humphrey Bogart, The Big Sleep. The Big Sleep. But it's a dark poem. A lot of Dylan Thomas's poetry is dark. It's not quote happy. But as I've said in other videos, and it's just kind of my take on art and poetry. Sometimes you can find the beauty in the darkness. That the expression of human emotion centered around loss or tragedy. It can be very beautiful. It's very touching. And what I like about this, and that's why I wanted to come on here and talk about Dylan Thomas and his poetry, is that nothing, I think, sums up Carpe Diem, seize the day, made famous in the Robin Williams film Dead Poets Society. But I think nothing more expresses that than this poem. He's urging you, do not go gentle into that good night. Don't just, wait around for death to happen. Don't just say, oh, well, it's a natural part. He's basically urging people, as Robin Williams did in the film Dead Poets Society, to seize the day, to make every day extraordinary, and don't just wait around for your life to be over. And I first got into Thomas. I first heard his name in an awesome film called Solaris. And the few people who are aware of Solaris are aware of the George Clooney film that was made in, I think it was 2006, right about 10 years ago. But that film was actually a remake of a Russian film, the same title, Solaris, which was based on a Russian novel called Solaris. And I love the novel. I've read the novel. I love both films, the Russian version, the original, and then the George Clooney remake. But in that film, George Clooney and his girlfriend, and then later his wife, her name is Rhea in the film, played by the actress Natasha. I can't think of her last name. It's an Irish, British name. But Rhea in the film quotes Dylan Thomas and introduces George Clooney's character Chris to Dylan Thomas's poetry, and they don't exactly talk about this particular poem that I've got today. They're talking about a different poem, but it starts out. This is how the poem starts out. I'm not going to read the whole poem to you, so don't flick off the unless you really want to flick off. I'm hoping what I'm talking about is interesting, but maybe it's not. I don't know. But it starts off, do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. And that first stanza, that first few lines kind of sets the tone for the whole poem, in which he is urging you not to go gentle into that good night, to live every day as if it's your last, and seize the day, carpe diem. Even though he doesn't use those phrases, are not in the poem. Now, some people have said this has a lot to do with his father being in the hospital at the time when he wrote this poem, which, no, Thomas died in 1953. I think this poem was, I think it was written probably, I'm thinking around 1937. But I'd have to go and do more research on it. But anyways, the last few verses references his father. Some people think that the poem is kind of based on that. That's speculation. We don't really know. We know his father was dealing with a terminal illness, and he was in the hospital. But whether this poem, was specifically to his father, we don't really know. But he does mention his father. And then I'm gonna read you the last few verses here. This is how it closes. And you, my father, there on the sad height, curse, bless me now with your fierce tears, I pray. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. And I absolutely love this poem, and it urges me to not go gentle in a good night. It urges me to seize the day, carpe diem. And that's what I want to urge you guys to do. Turn off the TV, get off the couch, live life to the fullest. Live every day as if it's your last. And I know a lot of religions, a lot of churches, they almost, I don't really want to say, almost fetishize death. They almost turn it into a fetish, or, your time comes, wait. I mean, I think people, again, going back to the kind of the religious angle, I think people are way too complacent about their finite lives, and about, the fact that at some day it's all going to end, and that leads people down a path of not doing what they need to do. So I'm going to urge you, as Dylan Thomas urges you, to fight against the dying of the light, or he says rage against the dying of the light. Do not go gentle into that good night. So I'm going to urge you, because we're both here on this earth right now. We have this day, and I'm getting ready to go out and start my day. And I urge you to tell someone that you love them, and do something good for someone, and be loving and merciful, because we're all going to go in to that good night. It's not so good, but the finality. We're all going to go into that at some point in our lives. So don't go gentle into that. Fight against it. As Dylan Thomas urges us in this poem, rage against the dying of the light. You have a light within you right now. We all do. Use that light to help other people while we have this light right now. And that's what I want to urge you to do. And I want you to go out and have an awesome day. Do not go gentle into that good night. Go out and use your life to make someone else's life better. Just another video of Mr. Marty talking about one of his favorite poets, one of his favorite poems, and urging you to seize the day. Carpe diem. Do not go gentle into that good night. Thanks, everybody.